You're now live. Go.
Go, go, go. Do you want to turn off just the fan?
Everything.
That's good. I feel like you can leave the air conditioner on, just keep the fan on.
All right. Turn off all the stuff. Talk to the people.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live. Is that meant to be doing something different?
Just talk to them.
Just talking. Hello. Look at our lovely gray background. Can you guys see that? Nick, over the last week, painted all the floors down here and started painting the walls. And it just feels a lot cleaner and easier to look at. So hopefully that's good for you guys too.
What happened last week?
I do not remember, sir.
Our business turned 6 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
We're 6 now.
We're 6 years old.
It's true. Yeah, no. Last week was our 6-year anniversary, and hopefully you didn't miss it, but we had our anniversary sale, which we don't do every single year, but felt like a good time to do it. And so just thank you to every person who purchased during the sale. It was very, very successful, and now I have a lot of work to do.
That's how it works.
It is how it works. But it was good. It was good. What else? What else happened?
I mean, I put up on the stories that of me, or like all the stuff moved around.
So, oh, you did?
Yeah,
You did that
this
today?
Morning,
Oh,
this
okay.
morning.
Yeah.
Because
Nick
everything had to go
rearranged.
over here,
Yes.
and then
I wasn't
over
allowed
there.
to look.
I told Leanne to not come into the basement multiple times.
Because it would stress me out,
I
which
mean,
is accurate.
I know that. That's why you stay away from it.
And I've learned my lesson, and when he says that, I listen. But yeah. I feel like you missed something.
This weekend, Leanne's going to be solidifying a design.
I just love the Domestica course.
Oh, cool.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who has purchased from the Domestica course and is taking the course or has finished the course. I think we have a little over 500 students now.
Skipping ahead on my agenda.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I had to follow the list.
Come on.
You don't typically run by rules, so. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's participated. It's been really fun so far communicating with you guys through the forum and everything like that, and answering questions. And
yeah, a couple of people have shown like a practice project they've done, which is really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It's translated into 8 languages, so if you are French, you can take it.
It's true.
I don't know any French. Oui.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Je suis la jeune fille.
I'm gonna start up. I'm kind of taking a break in August for like the long format videos, and I'll get back to those in September.
Yeah.
Not initially what I thought was going to happen, but we've just been busy doing other stuff. So.
Yeah, August is tricky. We have a lot going on. We took a vacation. Wes is home full time for the month because camp is over and school hasn't started quite yet. So it's just a trickier time, but it's also a good time. We're having fun. We're getting a lot of stuff done, like painting the floor and walls. And like Nick was about to say...
And I reorganized a lot of stuff.
Yes, lots of reorganizational things are happening. But this weekend, I'm going to be working on a second new bag that we're going to be releasing. And I will also be returning to the first one to edit that pattern down. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to mainly focus, because I have that's very clear what I need to do. So I'm really going to be focusing my energy on the second bag, which I'm really excited about. A lot of ideas turning on how it's all going to come together and what it's going to entail and include, so that'll be fun. But hopefully be able to share some of that with you guys either over the weekend or next week sometime.
Yeah, depending on how far you get, probably Monday.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
It's just super fast.
We will see how it goes. But it's going to be a really cool design. I'm very excited about it.
I was gonna ask where the coffee is.
Oh, don't
It's
worry,
here.
he finds it. It's always funny too. After Nick is kind of constantly reorganizing our
Yes.
workspace, and every time Wes comes down and is like, "What? Why is this here?" Blah, and he's just.
He asked me this morning, "How did you move the television?"
Oh, I thought I heard him say that.
It's like, well, I picked it up. He also saw things like all jammed up,
Yeah,
so I don't
he
know.
peeked. I
He
did not
peeked.
peek.
Well, he was like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?"
I mean, it's a good question.
I get in the zone, so
Someone
get
said
out of here.
something over there.
How much do you think? How much longer do you think you'll be working from your basement? That's a good question. I don't know.
That is a good question.
I think my goal, no matter what, like we're gonna improve our space anyway.
Yeah.
So this is like it kind of works in both ways, but I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like whether it's our workspace or like our basement,
Our actual basement of our home where we live.
That is not a workspace. At some point, it's nice to improve it. So yeah. I mean, we're hoping in the next few years we can move out of here and get a space, but it's just up to
Sales.
fate, I guess.
And
our hard work and working towards that goal, obviously. But that is the goal we're working towards.
Yeah, it really depends. Like,
It's a lot. It's a lot to, because we've really thought about it, I'd say, pretty significantly in the last year. Now that we're like really settled into our house and we know where about we want it to be and kind of like how big we want it to be and that sort of thing. So we've looked at some spaces even, that sort of thing. But like it is just it's a very expensive thing to do. Not only is there just like monthly.
well, it increases your overhead. So all of a sudden you have a lease, you have
Right.
insurance, you have other
You
things
have
you got
to
pay
pay
for.
electrical bills and heating bills and internet bills. Like everything kind of compounds, not to mention the fact that like if you have to do anything to the space in order to make it work for you,
Yeah.
there's that whole part of it. But there's also some great things about it that we'd be able to hire people to help us hopefully produce at a higher rate and offer things like, in-person leatherworking courses at some point or whatever it might be that we might do. Or, once a year do like kind of like an open house where we and maybe some other people sell their goods. There's all things like we've talked about that would be really awesome to do in a space that is outside of our home. But yeah, it's something we're working towards, and hopefully in the next few years we will get there. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it's a big jump.
It is.
Because the main reason for us to leave the basement is to hire in my head.
I agree.
And then I feel like all the other stuff we would do to the space is like a bonus. Like we could set up like
a photo shoot area.
video area. We could set up like a showroom. We could set up. Yeah, there's just all sorts of things we could do with a different space.
Right. Yeah.
So. But yeah, who knows?
We're making it happen for now.
Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's 5 years from now. Maybe it's never.
We'll find out, I guess.
Find out.
If you follow along, you will too. What else? What else is on your list? Did we go through it already?
What are you working on right now?
Oh, working on one mini Barry, one regular size Barry. So they're currently clipped up and ready to be sewn, big and little. And 2 Rittenhouse straps are also like slightly started. So
How long did it take you to make the Domestica course from A to Z? What was the most difficult part?
it was 3 months plus like the week of shoot.
Well, it was longer because we were writing the course for a while.
Yeah, 4 months.
But like they have like a system. So I think the hardest part for me, having done it, is not fully understanding the order and the process while we were actually like writing it.
Yeah.
So some things they're filmed. It's filmed out of order, which is fine. But it's like also I didn't fully understand how it was gonna look on the website and how it was gonna be like presented, especially like the extra things, like the
B-roll stuff.
not the B-roll. I didn't.
Oh,
That was gonna be for
oh.
the trailer, but like the
Yeah.
like the attachments and all the extra stuff we were kind of setting up.
Yeah.
It was kind of like hard to imagine. Having done it, like I think we would totally like just be awesome at a second course. But I think not
And I
fully
think
understanding
writing
that was
it
part of
would
it.
go a lot faster for the
Yes.
second course as well.
Like the actual production of the things, we only made one mistake, and it wasn't even that big of a mistake for like having be prepared for
What
filming.
mistake? I
Like
don't
you had to
remember.
hand stitch a little bit that we didn't anticipate.
Oh yes, yeah.
But that was not a big. That was like an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah,
It was not a big
it
deal.
wasn't a big deal.
But
Yeah, I feel like the actual filming part was just 1 week.
yeah,
Writing of the course was the part that was,
we filmed for
Took a
4.5
long-
days.
yeah, I think that's right. We came in on a
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Sunday.
Thursday.
We had Saturday to
half of
ourselves.
Friday.
Monday. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, writing the course was the hardest part. I mean, it was if you imagine being like an actual teacher who has to write curriculum, it's kind of like that. But we were also at the same time essentially writing our script of what we were going to do and say, and you really had to think it out like step by step of like how it would go. And it sounds a lot easier, I think, and it seemed it would be a lot easier when we were initially like pitched the idea of doing it. I think part of it too is they provide you with like a certain structure to like work from, which is helpful, but also can be a little confusing to like plug your idea into this thing that already exists. So yeah, it was tricky, but we got through it. And if we get to do a second course, obviously we would, like I said, I think we'd do a really good job and a much faster job.
And we weren't slow. Also,
No. I just also stress about everything kind of being done perfectly and correctly. So,
well, the hard part is if you don't film it, it doesn't get in the course. So, like, if you remembered something later, like, oh, that would have been so helpful
Yes.
for like our students.
exactly.
I think that was the hard part for us, because like
Yeah.
this, we're winging this, right?
Right.
And we're comfortable doing this, but like having that structure was a little bit more difficult. Especially because, like I said, if you forgot something, it just then wouldn't be included. We
Right.
could always add like an additional resource afterwards, but like you don't want to. We tried to like not miss like some of the tips, and it was
Right.
helpful to have both of us there for that reason. Like I was thinking the whole time you were talking about what would be helpful for a student, and what could you say to them during this process, this part of the
This
process.
part of the process. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was fun.
It was cool to see all the equipment, and it was hard for me to be in front of the camera because it was just weird.
Well, like I said, it wasn't like Nick said, we wing this every week, right? And we're just kind of chit-chatting and doing whatever we do, but which made us think like, oh, we'll be fine. And like we were for the most part fine, but it's still nerve-wracking to have like a
It's
legit
different.
camera on you and like people staring
A
at you
real
that you
camera.
don't have like necessarily a close relationship with yet, and you're in a foreign country. Like there's just so many things that like, add to the stress of it.
My sleep schedule never
that
worked
sucked for you.
being there, but
Yeah.
I
So
don't
Nick was
know- I don't
also
know
very
why.
tired.
Yes.
I kind of just didn't sleep.
you were fine. I don't know how you did it.
'Cause
I tried to
already-
anticipate like the time change the day before,
Yeah.
and it didn't help me.
No.
I just was tired.
Didn't work. But yeah, I think actually for me delivering the lines was the hardest part.
I think you did a great job. Like while we were there, I was like surprised, not surprised, but yeah, surprised. I thought you did a good job.
Thank you. It was, I'd say it definitely took a little bit though to like get comfortable with it. Even though I wrote it and everything, it was just.
It felt very much like you were in front of like a group of people, like giving a lecture.
Yeah.
Even though
But, like,
there was only 3 people
you
in the room
had
and a
to-
bunch of cameras.
Like even though like, and I'd be fed lines too, like I wrote this down so she would read it to me and then I would try to repeat it back. But even within that, like your brain, there's moments where it just will turn off while you're trying to remember what she just said and repeating it back in a way that makes sense and has like the inflection that you want.
Yeah.
It's,
Acting's hard.
yeah, definitely. But It was fun, and I would do it again.
Yeah, the people we met there were amazing, so that very much helped.
And like I said, like we obviously didn't have a personal connection with them very much when we first got there, but by the end of it, I felt like they were like our best friends.
Did you have a reading machine or just saying things off on top of your head? So we had like
A script.
physical paper.
Yeah.
That had the outline.
Yep.
But
Like everything that we had written down, and then Marta, who was like the production manager, producer, she sat there with the script and was like, and would feed us lines that we had written, and then we would either say them exactly how we had written them and how she had no, and but sometimes we would like improv things and add things to it, but it wasn't like a prompter machine or anything like that, which that would have been way worse because I am very dyslexic, and so if I had to sit there and like read a prompter, it would not go well, I don't think. Oh. Wes needs help, so Nick just ran up to help him. I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, and then yeah, it was very interesting. But like I said, the working with the team that we worked with was amazing, and I would definitely,
okay, bud?
if we got to do a second course would request
let's not play
that we
with
get
that
to
right
work
now
with them
then.
again.
Can you
because you know,
Okay.
the more comfortable you feel with people, the
Ready?
easier it is
Okay.
to work with them. So
I'll play with it somewhere else.
yeah, it would be cool to do it again.
We can play with it later, but not right now. You understand?
Let's see what I can hear them coming down. Trying to think what else. It's also so nice because we got to like
Please find something
experience
different to
Spain,
do.
which we had never been to Spain before, and absolutely loved it. Would definitely go back again. Oh, we hear him.
Oops.
Is everything okay? Everything okay?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's just ridiculous. He was trying to go. He was in the guest room. He was trying to get like that kitchen out of the corner. Which
Yeah.
is just not possible for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did I miss?
Not much. I pretty much said nothing, and all the same stuff you already said.
This one's boring, guys.
Well, we don't have a lot to say. We'll have a lot more to say when we have a new bag
Yeah,
next week.
it's true. All right, we'll see you next week.
I mean, I can start sewing stuff. I don't know. Do you guys have any other questions for us? We can. I mean, we could say like the generalities of the two other bags that we're going to be
Yeah, if you want to talk about that.
launching. So the two other bags to come that we're going. So there was one that we showed you guys a couple weeks ago that I need to edit. That's basically like a crossbody bag in the milled leather. And then the other bag I'm going to be doing, which hopefully will be done and we can show you next week, a sneak peek of, will be a version of what I'm going to call like a saddle bag. But, you know, with all of my typical construction things that I like to do and like shape play and things like that I like to do. So, and those sorts of details I'm excited to play with. So yeah, something that's kind of like saddlebag inspired, I guess is a good way to say it. And then the third bag is going to be a new handbag. So really the only like true handbag I would say that we have is our Bowery and Mini Bowery, which is what I showed you guys earlier that I'm working on right now. So we're going to be adding, hopefully if all goes well, adding one more to that lineup, which I'm excited about playing with. So. Oh, that's a good question. Do you use private or public outdoor spaces for photo shoots?
I think the Arboretum.
I guess it's technically private. You have
private.
to pay, like buy a ticket to get in, but like
we don't tell anybody we're doing this.
no,
No one stops us, so.
not yet.
Like
It's technically private, but we're not like renting out the space, so there are people walking around
Yeah,
while we're
we
doing
try
it.
not to get in the way either.
Yes.
Like Longwood Gardens, we did like a very small. We didn't do a shoot there, but
We took
we
like
were there.
3
You had a
photos.
picture. You had a bag, and I
Yeah.
had my camera, so we took pictures.
Yeah.
But that was just full of people, and that was like the opening day of one of their.
New exhibits
New
or whatever.
exhibits, so
Yeah.
that wasn't
We need
really-
to go back during the week.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do that next week.
But we love arboretums. We love nature, so.
Yeah.
They're all private. I guess we could. It's just. They're just so good because like whatever you would find like in the public land, could be cool. But like we just know there's awesome trees and stuff, and textures and.
I've thought about us, like, especially if we ever wanted to do more of like a winter shoot, finding an indoor space that we could rent for the day. And we actually did do that once before when we had like 3 people be like models for us. But yeah, I would like to. It would be cool to get like a house or something like that we could do a shoot in at some point.
Yeah, we were talking about an interior space.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so hard in my mind for it to look right. So
Yeah.
like I have to see the space to know if it's gonna be
I wonder
like.
if we talk to Hexter if he'd be able to
You
point
probably
us
would
in
know
some good
places.
directions. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, because like to me, it has like I'm looking for. Honestly, I'm looking for tall windows and dramatic lighting.
Yes.
So like,
Same.
if we could find a place like that that had like interior that was cool enough, basically.
Yeah, that was like
Um,
basically what we're looking. Yeah, I'm sure we can
Anyway.
find something.
Do you think consistency or quality of content is most important for social media growth marketing? Tough question. Well, not really, but
Because they're both important.
I think. I mean, it's always changing on social media. I mean, even what we've done in the past isn't always going to work for the future, right? So I think it should be about the quality of what you're putting out and how you're utilizing the tools that are out there. Like, it's probably the other thing is like, I feel like if you put the same content out over and over and over again, not that this is a thing, but I feel like it just gets less and less and less reach.
Well, it's
So
boring for
it
people.
becomes boring.
Yeah.
Becomes boring to the algorithm, not even to the people. Because I was actually looking back at our posts this morning just to get an idea of like the insights to them, and I honestly feel like it comes down to like the best timing for your audience. Because if you're not putting out quality content and you're not putting out it at the right time, then it's not going to get the boost, and like it just nothing works if you don't do it that way. So like if you're an insomniac and you're posting everything at 3 a.m. for that customer, that makes sense, right? So you gotta make it make it work that way. And I think it's hard because everyone's probably trying to post at similar times.
Yeah.
Like for us, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday aren't always like really strong, but like in August, the first half of August is always kind of boring.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I look back. We did our last photo shoot last year, like the first couple weeks of August too. So we were like
It's a good time to
creating
do
a pattern
it.
for ourselves.
Yeah, but it is a good time to do it because leading into.
Yeah, it leads into like September.
Yeah.
Because everyone right now is busy. They're busy getting their kids to school, or they're
Ready
busy
for
thinking
school.
about that
Or
kind of
they're
stuff.
finishing
Or if
up
they
with
don't have kids,
vacation.
they're going on vacation,
Yeah.
or they're at home and they're like whatever. But I think quality content's like the base, and then you have to make it interesting. Like I think educational is still like the place to be, especially with that kind of stuff in videos. Like I would love to see like a breakdown of some of the machines, and by breakdown I mean like just explaining it from
For people
Daniel.
who don't know, Daniel makes denim,
And he has cool machines.
and he has really cool machines.
Because people ask about our sewing machines all the time.
And we just have 2
and
that
we
are
have
the
two.
same.
And they're not like, they're cool, but they're not like old and like super cool and specific like some of your machines are.
Right.
So I think the more specific you can be, the more successful you'll be, because things are going to get just more and more narrow of a focus. So, because if you're trying to just be like, I want anyone that wears pants to be my customer, that's not your customer.
Those people.
You gotta be more specific.
I think there was a question.
So make sure. When you come up with a new design, do you have to stop looking around so you aren't stealing ideas from others? That's a great question.
I typically don't look around all that much to begin with. I am always looking at inspirational stuff, but it's more like whole looks, like whole fashion looks, or like for me, I get a lot of inspiration from like vintage baskets and vases and other types of like vessels and things like that. So I've always, I mean, of course I do look at leather bags.
Boats.
Boats are cool.
Vessels.
But yeah, no, and also once I kind of have like a really strong idea of what I want to do, I'm kind of like constantly refining it in my head before I go to start designing it. So I'm not really looking much at what anyone else is doing.
Is your Cobra 26 easy to adjust between soft leather and bridal, or both to get good stitching? I'm considering buying the Cobra 26.
Yeah,
as hand saddle stitching.
As opposed to hand saddle stitching, probably.
I can't read.
I would say yes. So I sew both the regular bridal veg tan on there and the milled, which is both a thinner, we get it in a thinner ounce, and it's a much softer leather, and I have to make very minor adjustments.
The tension's not that different.
Yeah, it's not. So, not a big deal.
The machines break down on their own. I don't need help. When and how do you decide to do just bags? When and why did you decide this niche? I don't know how do you say that?
I always said niche.
I like niche better. It's hard for me to stick with just one type of product. I'm just curious. I didn't know. But at the same time, it's chaos. I think, like, kind of like what I was just saying with the marketing earlier, like, the more specific you can be, the better. And, like, for bags sold the best for us.
Yeah, so when we first started, we pretty quickly started doing markets. And so we kind of did, like, we had our bags because that was the thing that I liked to do. But I felt like we needed to have, like, keychains and wallets and, like, dog leashes and stuff. Like, I felt like I had to.
We sold dogs.
That'd be weird. But in actually doing the shows and having all those things there on the table, like the bags were the things that we're selling. Like, of course we sold some leashes and some wallets and some keychains, but like, one, they're just a much lower price point, but two, they just did not sell as well as everything else. And there's also, for me, like the actual designing aspect, there's way more leeway in designing bags than there are in like the little goods.
You could go buy a leash at Petco for probably $10.
Yeah, and also, like, what new are you going to bring to a leash or a keychain?
The question
that's going to make it, like, exciting. Whereas
yourself
a bag there's so much you can do to it to make it different and unique. So.
What's the only product you can make?
But yeah, we made that decision pretty quickly. I'd say within maybe the first couple shows that we did.
And we tried hats later on and decided that wasn't working either. So we just that's it.
Yeah, and we'll never say never, but like I think that we do best focusing. I mean, I know I do best whenever I'm able to focus on like one thing at a time. And since currently I really enjoy and have fun making bags, I think it just makes sense for us to stick to that.
It can be scary to like narrow it down for yourself, but if you become the people that do this one thing.
I was going to say, you get known for doing that particular thing. People are going to come to you because they know you make that thing and you make it best. So.
Exactly.
Did we answer that question?
Yeah. Okay. I think it's hard because I feel like every leather worker goes through this process where they make a whole bunch of small stuff, and I feel like that's often the part where they're figuring out their skill set and how to get better.
Totally fine. Yeah,
it's definitely fine, and that's just what you'll see at markets. You'll see people making wallets, belts, and those do fine in person, to be honest. But if you do them online only, it gets tough because like your competition grows. So instead of just being at a local market with those local people, you're now competing with everybody on the internet.
And even at shows, it was like there's, when we did them, there'd be like one or two other leather workers there, and they all had wallets, they all had keychains, they all had dog leashes, they all had coasters. Like so you're really kind of creating like a weird competition of like something that doesn't kind of even matter all that much. So I always felt like for us, it was just, it was always best to just focus on the thing that was most exciting.
Yeah.
Seemed to be the thing everyone else gravitated towards anyway. So
I think to get into like those kinds of worlds, you have to offer something even like more different. Like your wallet has to be out of shell, or it has to be very unique in a very specific way, so that you can gain an audience that way instead of just being like, here's a wallet, here's whatever.
which is also like why. So now we do have wallets again, but they're to me much more unique than the wallets we were producing when we first started, where they were just really like card holders. And I mean, technically the one is a card holder, but it's definitely more unique than what we started with. So
The barrier to entry on wallets or belts or keychains is super low compared to bags and backpacks and apparel. That's an important thing to remember when getting started. For sure. The margin on wallets and belts is awesome, because you can get, 30 belts out of a hide probably. So, and the same thing with wallets. They're small goods, and if it's, I think one way to differentiate yourself, I mean, this is kind of probably what people do anyway, but like that could be, you can only make enough from scrap or something like that. Like this becomes, I have this much scrap left over, I make this many wallets, I drop the wallets and I sell out, and then that's it. So it's like a way to reduce waste. Sorry.
we also made like leather jewelry too that did like okay, and to me that was also still more unique. But I feel like people were coming to us because they knew we made bags and they wanted the bags.
Yeah, and just the in-person markets sold totally different items than the online customer.
Yeah.
So, because the people I think at markets were looking for gifty things, and it was more like an impulse buy. Versus if you're on our website, chances are you met us through this, you know about us, and then you're just getting a bag.
Yeah.
You're a bag person now. Bagiologist.
What?
Why
are you a robot all of a sudden?
Why not? I'm really happy with how this looks.
That's good. I do want to work on that. I have like a plan for that wall. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just put stuff back up there because
Yeah,
I
so
wanted
it wasn't
to move
over
it
there.
off that table
Yeah.
over there.
Okay, that's what I figured.
And I started to play with it. I'm like, I don't want to do this right now.
Okay.
We also don't have enough bags to make it look like it makes sense. So
Yeah. Sure.
that's cool. What else you got, guys? I'm gonna threaten to leave again. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I got stuff to do.
We got things to do.
Do have things to do for real.
It felt really good to get rid of some stuff.
Oh yeah, we had. I don't even know. I knew about the one box of things you got rid of, but I don't even know what else you got rid of because it just feels good. It feels better down here.
It feels thoughtful. I even like tied up some of the.
I saw that.
Some of those.
Did you just see
things
that this morning?
last night?
Yeah. Okay.
What's the tool you're enjoying using the most while using it? This is the most fun to film to me.
It's the
Even
most
though
fun to use.
we don't usually get a lot of footage of it.
Palo Santo Edge
The
Beveler,
edge beveler. Is this what people do?
supposedly.
Yeah. This is really nicely balanced.
Yeah, it's easy to use. And I remember when I got that thing, I literally laughed the first time I used it because it cuts like butter, and like a hot
we were
knife
using
butter.
like a
spoon.
craft a spoon. It was
Basically.
pretty much a spoon.
Pretty much was.
The spoon of the bevel world.
Yeah.
2 spoons together.
Yeah, so I would say that beveler, and honestly, the EPS on the sewing machines is
Yes.
like game changer.
I have so much leather. I think it's coming tomorrow.
That's good timing.
I'm gonna need like a full day.
That's fine. If you take me,
Here we go.
you're gonna need to negotiations now. If you take me to Home Depot so that I can get the wood that I want to finish up
Yeah,
the
that's
base,
fine.
then I will have something to do while you do that,
That makes sense.
and I will be very happy.
I will be very happy. Yeah, that's an easy one.
Okay, good. I just need your
Problem
help
solved.
getting the wood in the cart. The only thing, I take it away to get
All
cut.
right.
You walk away into your.
Stresses me out, guys.
You just put it on the cart.
I know. What's your views on the Weaver clicker press that's manual?
Oh, that's what we have.
We have one.
It's great.
We have the big one. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's the best. We should have gotten it earlier than we did.
The small one works if you're doing like
Wallets.
wallets and small things. I think it's like this, but the other one is like
Yeah, the one we have.
pretty large. We have some dies that are too large for it, but
Still works.
we maneuver it so that it works.
Yeah.
And our basement's low, so like I have it. You need clearance like for the that giant arm.
Like this question from Daniel: is less actually more?
Yes.
Depends on what you're talking about.
Less
if it's
is-
ice cream, no.
No, less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Less is more.
Good question.
What if it's really, really great ice cream, and it's so rich like you can't eat a lot of it?
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Quality.
But if it's less crappy ice cream,
Do you find it difficult to have work-life balance because you work from home and you work with your spouse, or do you have a stricter schedule? It depends.
yeah, sometimes we
It goes
go.
like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has ups and downs. I feel like stop. I feel like sometimes
I almost danced.
I feel like sometimes we do struggle with work-life balance, but to be perfectly frank, I feel like our work. What?
To be Steve.
All right, you're Steve. I'm Frank.
To be blunt.
I feel like I have more work-life balance doing what we do now than my previous job. And that wasn't to say that my
My
previous
commute is terrible.
Yeah, honestly, the commute makes up quite a bit of that. But and I enjoyed my other job, and I wasn't like worked to death or anything like that. But
This is just different.
it's just different.
It's hard to explain, to be honest.
There's just a There's a I don't know what I want to say, like comfort. I don't know what the word is, but like being in my home, getting to make for a living, like it's great. Like I thoroughly enjoy it. So there are certainly times that I overwork. Like honestly, yesterday
I try to tell her to stop when it happens. I don't always see it though.
yeah, it's true. Some of it's also just mental. Like probably yesterday I should have stopped a little earlier than I did. Like there are just things like that. And actually one of the main things I realized is how desperately I need to have aerobic exercise in my life. So recently just working in like going for runs more often has seriously impacted my work-life balance, I think. And like I don't know if this is like a woman thing or like whatever.
This one's for the ladies.
This one's for the ladies, but
It's
like
not.
I felt
It's
guilty,
called
to be
endorphins.
perfectly frank again. I felt guilty, working all day and like having, Nick is definitely, when I'm working on making stuff, is like the primary parent, I would say, even though like we are both
I'm
doing
a shepherd's
it.
hook, and I'm just herding Wes.
Yeah. I felt guilty then being like, hey, I know you just like watched Wes for like a whole bunch of hours while I got all this work done, but like, can I just go for another 30 minutes and like go for
Yeah,
a run?
you
And
gotta
I
take care of
felt
yourself.
very guilty doing that. But in talking it over with Nick and starting to feel more comfortable saying like, hey, is it cool if I go for a run? Now has greatly improved my mental health as far as work-life balance goes. So,
It's good.
yes.
I just need to find projects I want to do. That's my work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't matter to me. I'm just happy to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's another part of that too, actually, which is right now I have very slowly, like a snail's pace, been working on redoing Wes's bedroom. But that's like a creative thing that I'm doing outside of my job that brings me a lot of joy because I do have to do creative things outside of
This.
making bags because I'm a creative person, and if it's just going towards only what's considered work, I can sometimes struggle with that. So
Yeah, I think that's true for anyone.
yeah.
If less is more, then why do they have the same number of letters? We'll leave that one to the philosophers. Hello from Japan. People say work-life balance as a business owner isn't a huge part of their life. Work and life aren't opposed to each other. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
That's a really good way to put it.
It's we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And like think
Yep.
about like anyone that works 40 hours or more or less or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not different in that way.
Right. It's not necessarily a number of hours, although, yeah, you can spend more or less on both.
Yeah. I just feel like as a business owner, it's just a lot more encompassing. You're just doing everything, and I think
Yes.
it's hard, mostly, for people that don't have a really broad skill set to
Yes.
do.
Or who are doing it by themselves. Like
Yeah.
if I had to do all of this by myself without you,
Yeah.
it wouldn't happen, and obviously vice versa, I think, as well.
Oh, for sure. I'm not going to be designing women's bags successfully.
I mean, you could.
This one's a square. It's a cube when you look at it from this angle. Yeah, it's like I think I commented on Lost Dutchman. He had a post up, and I was just like, it's like the most wild journey of like self-discovery. You have to be super honest with yourself as a person, what you need, what
And honest with your
And
whoever you
whoever
might
you're
be
working
working
with.
with. Yeah.
So like if you're not able to do that and move past it, then you're not going to be successful just because unless you just get lucky, and luck's you got to make your own luck, right?
Yeah.
So
Did we answer what this is?
yeah, we did. That's the work-life balance question.
Oh.
That's not to say everything always works out either. We mess stuff up all the time.
Don't worry, not any bags that we send out.
Not bags, just strategy.
Yeah.
11,
Okay.
17.
You guys have any other questions that you want us to answer? If not, I am threatening to leave because I have a short day today because I have somewhere I have to be. I need to get work done. So.
Quieter at the beginning.
What? Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any other questions you want to ask? I think
Boring.
otherwise we'll be a lot more excited next week when we have a new bag to show you. Hopefully. Nick just walked away. What do you guys think of our
Nate, are
Yeah,
you leaving?
our gray floors and walls?
Oh.
Showing them the space.
It's amazing what paint does.
It truly, yeah, truly. Then he started talking about redoing our floors upstairs.
It's on my reading list. I've been
He hasn't
almost
picked up a book in a
finishing
while.
this book called Burn the Boats for like ever.
A long time.
I like
Do you not like
speed
it?
read. It's not that I don't like it. It's like sometimes this
Me too.
happens. I like read like 12 books and now I'm like
You're out of.
now I'm out of book land.
Yeah.
And I need to do something
You
else.
need to do something else. Yeah, I get that.
So when I get like it's not bad. It's just it's not not like it's not exciting enough for me to continue reading it like and then to the end.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Good for that already.
I'm gonna make some leather items to put in a friend's booth at an upcoming local market. Do you have any tips
cool.
for the first time in a small festival market? If you've been to the market before, you might have an understanding of the customer there. So maybe you'll tailor your goods to that customer.
My one piece of advice is to make sure you have business cards with you, or a postcard or something like that that you can give away to anyone that walks by who seems interested. I would say our first, well, we sold stuff like right off the bat, but I always felt like we're both not very great salesmen.
Daniel.
Nor do I want to be, but
Launch.
I felt like we kind of had like a little elevator pitch I would do and then kind of like back off and let the person do what they wanted. But it was nice to have like something to give them, just a card that they could take with them and look us up later if they were actually interested. So that'd be a little thing that you could do, especially it sounds like you're not going to have a lot of space there. So having that, and also if someone does buy anything, make sure that you put business card or postcard or whatever it might be that has your information on it in the bag with the item they purchased, because when they get home, you know, they're immediately going to follow you on Instagram and like they might share it with their friends or like, oh, I saw that thing at that market. I wonder if that guy has more on his website or whatever it might be.
I always read it as like just watching how, I hope you're there with him also. Or you can, I don't know, either way. Like I always read it as like, how do people interact with what we're doing? How are they, do they like what's out there? Do they not? Like just a fact-finding mission. Hopefully your friend, if you're not there, can kind of give you some feedback on what people said, thought, and otherwise. How did you initially learn bag making? Did you start with a different medium, then move into leather?
The very first bags I ever made had a leather bottom, and so like 1/3 was leather, and the other 2/3 were vintage fabrics. But yeah, how did I learn? I think I just honestly looked at other bags and kind of got a general idea of construction and just tried to make it.
That's amazing advice for a craft market. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad that helps. I think it's really easy just to put the goods out there and then be like, oh man, nothing sold. But like you have to learn, like it's a constant journey of learning. Like that's the only way you're gonna figure anything out.
Yeah, and I kind of like I said, we're not trying to be, nor are we like good salespeople, but we're good at selling our things, but not being like pushy salespeople.
Yeah, but like that doesn't being a pushy salesperson isn't good sales.
Correct. What I'm saying is that I kind of felt like so whenever we did a show, I try to treat it as I'm here to educate people on what we do and why we do it, and that's it. If I sell stuff at the same time, great. If not, it's fine. I've like given out the knowledge. So when anyone came into the booth, I would just basically say like, obviously, hi, how are you? That smiles, that sort of thing. And if it seemed like they were kind of interested, I'd be like, just so you know, everything here is my husband and I make in our studio, and all of the leather is tanned in the United States in Pennsylvania. And since we were in Pennsylvania, it kind of helps. And I would just kind of like, and it's all veg tan, and I kind of give them like a really quick, what I would call an elevator pitch of like what is here in front of you and like why. And then if they asked more questions, then great, and we would kind of be able to get into a conversation.
You don't do that to every single person.
No.
So like if someone starts to linger, then you talk to them.
Yes.
You don't just go.
If they seem interested.
You don't just yell your pitch at people as they're walking by.
No. Like I said,
it wouldn't work.
If someone walked in the booth, I always said hello and gave them a smile and how are you, that sort of thing. If they started to actually look at stuff, that's when I would kind of
engage.
Yeah, engage with them.
Seems like no matter how much I prototype an item, I get so nervous cutting into that first hide. Huh. I feel like I've become less precious with cutting just because.
The more you do it, the easier it will get, I promise. Yeah.
It can be, I mean, interestingly, I feel that way sometimes about like a new color we get. Or like a particularly nice hide. I just want to make sure I can utilize it the best way possible.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
should I cut it from here or should I cut it from there?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I remember feeling that way when we first started cutting into a hide. Well, you just spent like $200 something on a hide, whatever it might be. It's stressful, like cutting into it, and you don't want to ruin it or mess it up. So, the better you get at your craft, the more you do it, the less stressful that part will become.
Just cut the corner off of everyone, and then you started all of them. Don't do that. For higher priced luxury items, I feel like markets are more about getting your name out there and having someone come by and make an impulse buy. Was so surprised that like the amount of sales we did at markets.
Yes, I agree
for
with you.
high priced items.
But I think when we started, it was about that. When we started doing shows, it was just about getting our name out there, getting our products in front of people, gauging their reaction.
Seeing if people would buy it.
Yes, and people did buy it right off the bat. But then as we went along, it really became like people knew we were going to be at certain shows, so they came to those shows to buy from us.
Yeah.
And I think if
we
we
were
were
walking
still
around
doing
the
them
show
now,
that we weren't part of.
Yeah.
And people were like, "What?"
hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you guys selling? Or like, oh, we're just shopping this one or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think if we were still doing shows now, it would
It'd
definitely.
be scary. I'm scared.
That makes me stressed out. We would have to have a lot of product with us. So
Wes
yeah,
could
I
be
think
our
it starts
security.
that way. He could be the salesperson. He'd probably be great at it.
What's it gonna take to get you into this bag?
I think I need to shrink you down. It would be fun to do. I know. I always talk about it, but one day we'll do it.
It would be fun to do a show. It would be fun to have bags to do a show with
Well, when we
when we have them. When you first started, did you draft a business plan or just improvise? We definitely didn't draft like a formal business plan.
No. I'd say we focused a lot on.
But we both had business experience.
Yes, we both had business experience. I think we focused a lot of our energy in the beginning on, like, what I would kind of call like the packaging of our product, like what would you call that? Like the graphic design element of it. Does that make sense?
No, but go ahead.
Like our logo, what's that going to look like? What's it going to be?
Branding?
Branding, that's the word. Thank you. Whew, almost lost that.
Yeah, we wanted a cohesive brand from the beginning, so that's where we started.
Yeah, I'd say we mostly started off focusing on the branding and obviously the product. That was like the number one thing. And then like Nick said, we both had business experience, so then once things obviously seemed like they were moving forward and people were into it and buying, then we started focusing more on like a business plan. And so every year we kind of tweak it.
I mean, I write goals all the time
Yeah.
and plans for the year. But like, I haven't written a formal business plan. I've looked at other people's business plans, and it can definitely help you outline what you want to do and accomplish. So, I'm not saying don't.
Oh yeah. And we do technically have a business plan. It's just maybe not fully written down.
Sell the bags. Yeah, that's what I mean. Just because a person doesn't buy that day doesn't mean they aren't thinking about it. I have
Yes.
a ton of people who stopped in 3 to 6 months ago who coming back to buy.
Yep.
Yeah. So we
100%.
also got like connections. That's how we got into the Philadelphia Museum of Art. That's how we got into Philly Mag. That's more important in my opinion than even selling.
Yep, I completely agree with you.
And yeah, like you said, like we had people take a card, then buy from us for their birthday or as a holiday or whatever reason. I'm considering doing some Leathercraft fairs for people to see my projects. I find it hard to price leather goods. Yeah.
We
and
have
labor time.
a YouTube video about pricing and kind of like where to start, so that might be helpful to give
Whenever you're thinking,
a look.
double it,
Probably.
probably.
Just so you know too, everyone that makes something and sells it, for the most part, struggles with pricing. It is completely normal. You are not alone, and you, as well as pretty much everyone else, is probably pricing their things too low. So just know that going in, and just know like whatever I think it should probably be quite a bit higher. But I would suggest watching the YouTube video. I do think it will help kind of get the mindset of like how to price your things.
Yeah, like your the hours it takes you plus times your wage plus materials times 2 is like the base of where you should start.
And I would say too, keep in mind when pricing your things out, where do you want to be with your stuff? So like, do you want to eventually have your stuff in other people's boutiques? Because that's a very different pricing structure than like, no, I'm going to sell at markets and directly online from my website and that's it. Those are very different pricing strategies and structures.
Yeah,
So
we often talk about direct to consumer versus
Right.
because we don't do retail.
Yeah, so I would think that through first because that will directly impact how you want to price stuff. So don't forget those stores are taking like 50%.
How many contact points with your brand does an average customer make before deciding to purchase?
That's
If you
a
had to
good
guess. That was a good question. I think the scientific answer I think is 7. I think people need 7 interactions with your business to feel comfortable.
But like us,
But I don't know specifically for us. Like we have people that buy
like
first time on the site. We have people that have
Yeah.
been eyeing stuff up for weeks.
Yeah, I've been to his website like 15 times before they buy something.
Yeah, it's probably 7. I'm sure that's the average, which sounds like a lot, but
That makes sense.
if you get 7 interactions on Instagram, that's not that.
Or
that
if
crazy.
like they see your Instagram and then they go from your Instagram to your
To
website,
then they
yeah.
watch a live maybe.
Then they go to your YouTube.
Then they're like, what are these people doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why social media has become so important because like the internet's so vast. And how else can you direct people to your website? How else can you direct people to what you're doing?
True. Anything else?
What?
Okay. Just trying to read what is written on there.
I've been thinking a lot about like who our customer is. I was going to talk to you about this yesterday, but you were busy. In your martyr podcast, probably.
No, remember I was learning about lobotomies. I'm on part 2 of lobotomies now.
Still better than just a storefront. Yeah, I think for most businesses, if you can apply social media to it and educate through it, that's like a win for everybody.
Yeah, agree.
Because we found success initially because people were just interested in how things were made and that they were made
By
us.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And I think once people have that realization, they maybe then research some of their other things that they've bought and they go, oh, I don't like this. This doesn't align with who I am. So let me find more companies that align with my lifestyle and how I feel and think. Do you use any customer data apps or software other than what your sales platform provides? I mean, we have Google Analytics, which is just changing over to G4A, GA4, something.
Yeah.
It's just the next version, basically.
Okay.
It actually functions very differently, but because it's about it's like data points. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, we use that, and that's pretty much it.
Someone asked something over there.
I don't get too deep into like that data. I think for us, we imagine our ideal customer and just keep driving towards that person.
I agree.
And then we confirm it or don't with customers as they become new customers. I'm old, sure is difficult on the net, but it's so much better. Overhead, are you in your house? Yes.
Yes.
You have already made that investment. Yeah, we invest a lot of time in social media, probably a lot more than most people. And you have to tailor kind of your message to that too. Like I was saying earlier, like what we do now might not work. Like we've been doing these lives for multiple years.
Since the pandemic started.
Since the pandemic. So we might, I mean, maybe lives will become less, or like, well, you know what, we'll just change our strategy because it's
It's
either
always
working or it's not.
changing,
So
and you have to change too.
yeah, if you don't, then like it doesn't work.
Yeah, it only worked for so long.
And I think that's the hardest part for most people to really understand.
Someone asked, do you experience a summer slowdown at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
So usually 1 or 2 months in the summer are brutal, and they're just like,
Yeah.
because people are away.
Yep.
And that's just the cycle.
Yep. And I think it's about figuring that out. Honestly, for us, it was a little hard because the pandemic really gave us like unreliable data in a
Sure
way.
did.
And so we kind of
Every
like,
March will just be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, every March has been crazy, pandemic or not. Basically, like January through March is like our varying crazy time.
But it was hard to know if that was a symptom or if,
Yeah.
or if it was true.
Pandemic jokes. But yeah, typically in the summer, I'd say June to August, 1 to 2 of those months are not going to be great, and it's because people are on vacation, so they're not spending money.
There's a cycle. There's like a sales cycle for every business, and
Yeah.
that's just how it works.
I do think for us, like, it tends to be August. I think especially, or it's the first half of
Even when I
August.
worked with food, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like very similar.
Yeah, first half of August tends to be our slowest time. I think it's 2 things. It's people are on vacation, and or people are coming back from vacation, it's having spent a lot of money on their vacation, and now they have to, if they have children, they have to buy school supplies and new clothes and shoes and things like that. So they're getting ready for their kid to go back to school. I think those 2 things combined make the first half of August for us usually not as great.
I want to start doing lives once a week. You should.
Do it, and then we can watch you and ask you questions.
Creep.
What
yeah,
day will
I
it
mean,
be?
the worst thing that can happen is it goes terribly and you delete it.
That's true. We've done ones that we've deleted before, right?
Oh yeah. In the beginning, I was like, we're not posting that. Ooh. Sorry for everybody who watched it.
Just know that you will feel nervous at first, but you will get so much better at it as you go.
What I would do is treat it like you're introducing yourself, you're introducing your business, you're introducing your materials, your machines, and then maybe by the time you're done that, like you'll have something that you want to like discuss later. Growing my social media has been a struggle. Do you experience the same struggle? If so, what did you get past it? How did you get past it? It's a lot, like we were saying, it's a lot of work. So like if you don't put in the work, like you'll never experience the growth. And then you also just have to be really aware of current trends. I think almost right now there's like not really a lot trend related. So it's hard to like jump on the new thing to go. It's probably Threads, but we didn't do that.
Or X.
Or X. But no, don't do that. But yeah, we didn't jump on Threads. I don't really have a want to do that. But you have to utilize them the way they were designed so that they can help you. And you have to be interesting.
And I kind of think that just like business in general, social media tends to have ups and downs and things that you have to like ride out and conquer, and it's just about being okay with changing and adapting. Not necessarily changing like your business, but like changing how you interact with your customer and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and find a platform that works for you. Like Quarter Leather is on YouTube, and he's successful at that. I think he has an Instagram, but I don't think he's really on it very much.
Okay.
If I remember.
I feel like I see this stuff in there, but
Really?
I think so.
But like, find the platform that makes the most sense for what you're doing, and then just like go all in on it. But yeah, it took us a long time to get. I remember when we got 10,000 followers, I felt like that was successful. I was like, this is crazy. And then we passed 100,000, and it slowed down. Actually, when we hit 100,000, it slowed down pretty significantly. And we don't know why.
No.
We haven't changed a lot of what we've been doing, but I am just imagining that this is just how it works for once you reach a threshold. Like maybe they throttle you a little bit. I surprisingly don't get nervous on live streams.
Oh, that's good.
I played in a band. There you go.
Oh, that's so helpful. Yeah,
Huge
yeah, yeah.
stretch. That's cool. That's a good experience. So like all of your experiences help you, right?
Yeah, that's
In
awesome.
one way or the other. I like that. That's awesome. Are hashtags still important on Instagram? No. They're not.
No.
They're not.
That's good to know because I never do.
Hashtag no. I mean, you can use them, but I don't know if they're not gonna like create the reach that they once did, because at one point they were new and different in a way for
People to find
information to get distilled, and that's not
filtered.
really how it works anymore. Like AI, that's the whole big difference about AI, and that's like it basically is putting things into these buckets, so it can then be fed to the people who want them, if that makes sense. And that's just a lot more effective because they can just it can look at a picture and then put it here. It can look at a video and put it here, and it's wild. How do you feel about Threads so far? We haven't been on it. Don't have really want to be on it. I don't even think I ever made a Twitter, which is.
I made one at one point.
But like I don't have nothing to say like that.
We're also like a very visual
Yeah, it's.
thing. Or is Threads meant to be like Instagram
We're also not like
for...
figures, like public figures. I don't know.
No one probably cares that much.
More and more manufacturing will be done stateside, so the companies that are competing with us here, lower wage, etc., will find it harder and harder to compete. Get in now so you will be ahead of the wave. Diversify your media to defeat the throttle. Yeah, that's one of the things we're doing. We're on multiple platforms.
Yeah, we have been for a while.
And I do agree. I think we're going to see more manufacturing coming back
to the U.S.
But it's going to be very specific, and it's going to be very, I'm assuming technology
Driven.
driven, efficiency and technology driven.
Oh, I'm so tired.
Wake up.
I can't. I'm so tired. I don't know why.
Do you happen to know the discount business account? Happen to know the business account? Wait.
Weaver. They want a discount for Weaver?
Oh.
We have one. Is that what they're asking?
Yeah, I can't remember is it 15%?
It's either 10 or 15. But if you go to our profile page, there's like one of the little highlights at the top. There's one that says Weaver, and if you go in there, you'll get our code.
If you're going to get a clicker, I would sign up for one. I think maybe they're asking about getting themselves an account. It's definitely worth it.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I really cannot remember. But yeah, it's good. Do it. I think Threads could be cool for having more nuanced discussions with your core community, but I don't think it's going to be great for growth. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on Discord very much, but I'm at, Discord, I think already fills that pretty well.
I keep thinking that this is a mouse, and that you're
It's
like,
not a mouse. I'm not.
click, click.
We still need leather products. Thank you for making the time for these streams and answering questions. It's sincerely appreciated. Yeah,
No
thank you for
problem.
asking questions.
Yeah, anytime you guys ask questions on here, it is much appreciated because it makes all of this
Otherwise, it gets weird
less
and we just
awkward.
stare at you, and then
And we do, and then Nick starts pretending he's a robot, and it's just...
it's not good. It's not good for anyone.
No. I'm like too tired to try to sew these right now while we're doing
Yeah,
this.
you're bringing my energy down.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'm very tired.
Did you not sleep well?
No, I did. I don't know what my problem is. I think I'm just stressed out.
Yeah. What's
Is that your threat? You just walk away slowly?
happening? Just walk away, walk away. Nobody says anything else. I want to see Nick's robot. No, you do
No,
not.
you don't.
You do not.
Don't do that. No,
I'm not good at dancing. I'm not going to pretend to be either. I don't even like dancing.
I just picture he dances all the time, though.
It's not really dancing. It's just
me.
moving. Moving my body. You might need a little vacation. We just had one. It's not.
No,
yeah,
it's not that.
no.
That's not what I'm in like a very other situation that I'm stressed out about. Nothing to do with work at all.
We have a lot of exciting things happening.
We do. Yeah, no, it's not that.
How's the garden? Oof. It's all right. I got a bunch of watermelon and squash out there.
I saw a little pumpkin-y squash thing growing.
Yeah.
It looked like this big.
Yeah. It's got ridges.
Green.
There's
Is it a gourd?
at least 2 different squash. I think it's buttercup squash.
Okay.
I don't remember. It's green. And then I have delicata, and then I have the watermelon, and I think there's another type of squash over there.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of dug up before we went on vacation. I like chopped everything back and then mulched. So
Starting it next year.
starting again next year.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's still like in a transition part of the garden. So like, I think next year it'll be in a really good spot, or maybe the year after. It's such a long-term process.
You know what I was thinking the other day? We have to start thinking about getting firewood.
I thought about that this morning.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. But yeah, it's good. I'm thinking more. I never thought I'd say this, but more like just perennials, so I have less to do. My fig trees are like,
They're so big.
they're taller than her.
Doesn't take much.
Still, it's pretty cool.
I mean, they started off pretty small, so
It smells
yeah.
like figs. You go over there and you're just
I
like,
cannot wait to eat. When can we harvest them? Like
oh, we'll find out.
October? Oh, okay.
no. I think it's earlier. I think September.
Okay.
Because some of them, there's some pretty large ones on
You
there.
have to wait for them to be like kind of purpley color.
Yeah, they'll turn like brown purple,
Okay.
and they'll get soft, and they'll fall off.
Wrap them up in bacon. Ready to go.
Just eat them. They're so good.
Also wrap them up in bacon.
Okay.
Do you remember when Jack came over and she like made that?
Yeah, for New Year's.
Oh,
It was great.
like,
I think there was honey on them too.
Probably. It was
Candied
delicious.
bacon with figs. Decadent.
Let's do it.
That's that.
All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it. Can I call it?
You can call it.
All right. I got work to do. But I'm excited for next week. I will hopefully have a new bag to show you, or at least part of a bag. Hopefully, very finished bag. Yeah, all kinds of exciting things. Lots of good things are coming.
Yeah,
I
and
just
then we'll
gotta
get
like get some of this other work done real quick.
a timeline for pre-orders.
Yes, so we can start
so
talking
you
about
can
that.
know that stuff.
And a photo shoot, another photo shoot.
The leather community leans on that lighter. Oh, we do have a thread zapper, and we use
Oh
both.
yeah, I use both. I use the thread zapper only when I'm working on lighter leathers.
Lighter leathers.
Like the natural leather, I tend to use it more often. But I use the good old Bic quite a bit as well. I do think the melting the threads with the Bic does a better job of actually like sealing it in there. But if you really don't want any of that to show, then using the thread zapper is a good alternative.
All right, bye.
Bye guys.